10 years ago, gates opened up in the entire world, unleashing monsters and beasts beyond anyone's wildest imaginations. However, at the same time, the Awakened started to pop up, superhumans with incredible abilities. These Awakened became hunters, and the monsters were their prey. It was proven that together they could overcome everything. That's all good and amazing, but why should he care? His name is Kang Ji-hyung. He is just a loser at the Awakened Specialization High School. His ability is what others would call amazing, but it's been hell for him. Exoskeleton manifestation. Even though he can cover his skin with an exoskeleton, it causes him extreme pain, to the point where he can barely grasp his consciousness. To make matters worse, after his exoskeleton disappears, it leaves him with disgusting scars, reminders of what has been done to him. The bullies attack and laugh at him with no remorse or worry about anything. The teachers or core cannot do anything. These bastards are S-rank Awakened, who receive very special treatment from the government. The reason Ji-hyung is enduring all of this pain despite everything is because of his mother, who runs a food shop. His dad died when he was only 5. When she asks how school is, he says that it's fine, because he can become a hunter if he graduates. That is why he endures. Even if he will be a C-rank hunter because of his ability, his income will be small for sure, but then they will be able to live somewhere better. All he wants is to see his mother rest and stop working so hard for both of them. On the 15th, it's his mother's birthday, a special occasion. That is what he thought anyway, until the fuckers at school beat his mom into a vegetative state. They all say it was an accident, even his lawyer. They coincidentally came to their restaurant and started harassing her, the white-haired bastard promising diamonds if she sat next to them. His mother pulled her hand away, and that's when she accidentally tipped his phone over. Before she could ask how to repay him, he immediately impaled her with his spikes, and they didn't stop there. He knows how these fuckers are, all right? This was not a coincidence, nor the rage of their abilities. It was a bunch of demons who took the only thing he cared about in this world. Later that day, while the bullies were out on a monster hunt, the purple-haired one wondered if it was okay how they beat up that lady within an inch of her life. What if she actually dies? The main bully comes out of the portal and tells him to stop caring. They are young enough to be protected by the law, and they are also S-ranked Awakened. Also, does he honestly think this is the first time he's doing something like this? Suddenly, Ji-hyung appears, asking why they did it. He approaches slowly, but they can't hear him, prompting Ji-hyung to scream, "Why did they torture his mother?" The main bully feigns ignorance. He did not know that it was his mother. She actually looked really young despite being the mother of such a loser. He impales Ji-hyung with a diamond spike and notes that he almost flirted with her. What a disaster that would have been for him. Ji-hyung doesn't care about this spike. He grips it tight and takes it out of his chest, allowing the exoskeleton to take over. He does not want to give up his revenge, prompting the main bully to summon a dozen or so more spikes and skewer him like a fish. Just who does he think he is, charging them like he can do something? Has he forgotten that he's a loser? Ji-hyung surprisingly continues to move, even if he looks like a lost spirit. Adamant on revenge, he still moves. Since he's so adamant about it, the main bully tells one of his friends, Thor, to just zap this guy. With one mighty look, he strikes Ji-hyung with extremely powerful lightning that makes him fall to the ground, presumably dead. Since they have dealt with him, the bullies get on their merry way, but Ji-hyung suddenly grabs the leg of the main bully and asks where he's going. The main bully has had enough of him already, so he protects his fist with solid diamond and begins bashing Ji-hyung's head again and again. If he's so fucking mad, he should have been there to protect his worthless mother. Why is he getting mad at him for? Even if these punches take most of Ji-hyung's teeth out, he still bites the hard rock, showing that he will not let this matter go no matter what. Suddenly the bullies see something in front of them. A blood gate. Thor thinks of reporting it right away, but the main bully tells him not to, as he has come up with a brilliant idea. Ji-hyung tries to get up, but his body is failing him, allowing the main bully to send him flying into the blood gate. Before disappearing, Ji-hyung vows on his very soul that he will kill them. He will make all of them suffer, like they did to his mother. The main bully tells him to try, if he can even get out, that is. Ji-hyung hits the ground quite harshly, but that's not his main concern right now. The blood gate is a phenomenon in which a gate turns blood red, and no monsters come out of it. Not much else is known about it, the reason being that if one enters the blood gate, they do not come out alive. Inside, thousands of monsters and freaks circled around Ji-hyung, ready to rip his tender flesh apart. They immediately get busy, and Ji-hyung experiences something worse than death. He can feel every part of his body being cut up, chewed, and mauled. Even his red eyes are not safe. Even when he is only bone, the pain persists, not allowing him to pass. These blood gates are a mystery, but new research has proven that those who enter them become monsters themselves. With no warning, Ji-young begins regenerating from a single piece of his skull. His entire body becomes flesh again, and the mana inside of the gate overtakes him. This is another extremely painful process, but Ji-young doesn't care. His human parts still remember. When he thinks of his mother, memories of what happened come flooding back to him, of the pain he and his mother suffered because of those bastards. It infuriates him so much to the point where he begins to drool like a rabid dog. The transformation takes him even further, fueled by sheer hatred and sorrow. Along with the memory of that bastard being alive, Ji-young goes beyond a normal transformation and smashes the ground beneath him. This grabs the attention of the beasts, who thought that they were done with him. But Ji-young has come back from the dead, driven by revenge. The beasts immediately rush him again, but this time, Ji-young is able to defend himself and take on these lost souls in order to get out here. Time passes, and on an important TV broadcast, 3 S-ranked hunters are being interviewed. They are famous for their kindness, and do volunteer work pretty often too. This is, of course, the bully group, with the main bully saying that they still feel the same way even now. They find joy in helping. The interviewer then asks him about his outrageous incident, where he hurt an innocent civilian 5 years ago. The bully starts letting out some crocodile tears, saying that was his close friend's mom. He was just a student, and because he could not control his abilities, something horrible like that happened. He apologized to him dearly, but he has not been able to get in touch with that friend since then. He hopes he can apologize once again. Suddenly, the door in front of him slams open and flies straight into his face. He manages to block it, now brandishing his usual cold expression, and everyone runs away as they see the monster. Before the bully can do a single thing, Ji-young flies towards him, with a punch that cannot be blocked. In the heel of the blood gate, Ji-young fought for years. Or he thinks those were years. He lost the passage of time as he continued to slash through the beasts until he got out, and now he has had his revenge. The main bully is knocked out before the others can even realize it. Ji-young still remembers how he mocked him to try and get out, but he actually got out, and now they are all fucking dead. Surprisingly, the main bully is somehow still conscious and tells these two to kill him quickly. Thor strikes Ji-young the same way he did in the past, but this time he's not even fazed by the attack and slashes Thor's head clean off, surprising the others. They really shouldn't be. However, Ji-young only came to have his revenge. The other bully uses his dirt abilities on Ji-young, who allows it. Soon enough, he is engulfed in a coffin of dirt, but he immediately gets out and grabs the bastard's jaw. With one swift motion, he takes it off, making him wriggle on the ground like the worm he is. This annoys Ji-young, so he shuts him up with 2 quick slashes, which allows the main bully to punch him right in the face before he could fully turn to him. But surprisingly, cracks form in his diamond because of the strike. Seeing this, he plans to eliminate Ji-young for good, so he summons thousands of diamond spikes and launches them directly at Ji-young, mimicking what he did in the past, only at a much larger scale. However, this time, Ji-young is not the little boy he used to be, but a demon sent from the fiery pits of hell, adamant on revenge. The main bully knows that this is not over, so he covers the upper half of his body in diamond and begins pummeling Ji-young again and again, once again mimicking the past. Ji-young once again catches his fist in his mouth, allowing him enough leverage to strike the bully straight in the chest. He continues to bite down on his fist as he is doing so, and the bully becomes horrified, prompting him to summon a gigantic diamond spike, which he successfully impales Ji-young with. But at the sacrifice of his arm, he tries to get out of there as quickly as he can, but he is suddenly impaled by one of his own spikes from behind, and Ji-young closes in with a few more in his hand. The bully screams at him like a child, to get away from him, to leave him be. But that's the last idea in Ji-young's mind now. He begins torturing the bully with his own spikes, putting him through what he went through daily because of him. The bully asks who he is and why he is doing something so horrible to him. In response, Ji-young rips his bone exoskeleton off his face, and the bully remembers. Now he knows. They always used to play around with him in high school. He is that worm. Ji-young feels that it's time to end this, so he starts beating the bully with every ounce of rage within him, until he finally impales his mouth with the sword on his hand and ends his life. All of them have suffered now, some more than others, but Ji-young's revenge is complete. Before all of this, he went to visit his mother, and was distraught to see that she is still in the same shape as last time, and not a bit better. He has achieved his purpose, but why is this rage still boiling inside of him? Before all this, in the same mountain area that he disappeared, another portal popped up, with a group easily taking care of the monsters inside. They all congratulated their healer, who was new in the group, and it was her first time in a dungeon. The guys were actually really thankful for her, and wanted to show their appreciation in some other way. What happens in the gate stays in the gate, so they thought of having some fun with her until they get out of here. But that's when one of the men's heads flew clear off. The others turned around, only to see the visage of malice staring back at them. They started spamming attacks in order to take this last monster down, but Ji Young was unfazed by their attacks. The Blade Master tried to cut him, only for his blade to break, allowing Ji Young to cut his head clean off. The last two hunters could not do anything because of their fear, and so Ji Young cut both of them down to size. He moved on to the woman, but stared at her apathetically a bit. She thought that this was mercy, that he was saving her, but Ji Young cut her head off just like with the rest. He had no time for this, no time for mercy. The anger within him drove his entire being. Now, as rain falls down on his face, he does not know what to feel. But suddenly, someone comes from behind and asks how it feels to finally have his revenge. He asks who's there, and the woman presents herself as the Korean Hunter Association head, Lee Yumin. Ji Young asks how she knows him, so she explains that they manage everyone who goes through a blood gate. It was around 5 years ago when he went into one, right? Ji Young immediately becomes angered and rushes in to end this woman, but she suddenly says that his mother can be revived. This makes Ji Young miss on purpose, creating a large blast behind her. Yumin explains that his mother can get out of her coma, but only with her help, of course, as she's the only S-ranked healer in the entire world. Ji Young asks how he can trust her, but Yumin has already done things for him. While he was trapped in that blood gate, who took care of his mother? Certainly not the hospital. They don't have enough funds or equipment to do that. Ji Young asks what she wants, but it's quite simple. Yumin goes on to explain that hunters have become too powerful. Weapons made by humanity have lost all meaning compared to hunters. Some are stronger than nuclear weapons, and thanks to that, most of the monsters in the gates have been wiped out. However, the gates have not disappeared. Gates are interconnected. They become a passageway that ignores borders, and there are countries using this to wage war on the hunters. The shaky peace they had up until now has been broken. All the main powers of the world have become enemies. However, they lack hunters, so they are unable to block the invasion of Japanese hunters, who do as they please. Until his return, that is. If they respond to the Japanese invasion with hunters, they will draw too much global attention, so they need his help. She vows to bring his mother back. All he has to do is become a monster for them, the thing he already is. In Japan, at the Prime Minister's office, he summons the Minister of Defense and asks why all of their hunters are currently unreachable. This is Ryuzaki Juto, Prime Minister of Japan. The Minister of Defense apologizes for this. It's his fault. He will look for them right away. Besides being Minister of Defense, he is also Japan's #1 hunter, Ikosai Kageru. After leaving the office, he tells his assistant to prepare his sword swiftly. She asks if he's going to go alone, which he confirms. At the risk of sounding rude, she explains that the hunters that were sent before were elite. Why does he not form a team? Kageru turns his head to her and asks if he looks like the type of person to need such things. Later, he arrives in the place where the disappearances occurred. The enemies he encounters are too weak for the people they sent. They wouldn't be able to die just from this. So what happened? When he moves a little deeper into the cave, he finds a beast standing on the bodies of his kinsmen like a throne. Furious by this sight, Kageru rushes in with his blade, but Ji Young blocks it only by putting his hand forward, proving his abilities. As he attacks, Kageru is annoyed that he blocked his sword, so after a punch, he uses the first moon ability, which Ji Young blocks, but it does do some damage. Kageru refuses to stop there, and uses the second moon to put Ji Young in the wall, allowing him to move in for the third moon, surely to be his final attack against this creature. Ji Young suddenly moves in and strikes at Kageru's neck, but with a sudden and swift movement, he manages to cut Ji Young's right hand clean off. It's unfortunate, he was a good fighter, but his sword slices even through diamond itself. He has decapitated Ji Young, feeling pity for the fools who were defeated by him. As Ji Young's consciousness slips, he remembers his father. He was always busy because of work, but he was warm and friendly no matter what. That's what he liked about him. Unfortunately, one day when coming from work, he rushed in to hug him, only for Truck-kun to appear. Just when he was about to get isekai'd, his father jumped in to save his only son, and Ji Young blamed his death on himself. Because of his death, his business went under, and they ended up with debt they could not repay. His mother's soft hands became rough, and when he asked if she was okay, she showed no sign of sadness and continued to work. Ji Young knew she was lying, as every night he could not sleep because of how much his mother cried. He knew that he was the reason this all happened. Someone like him shouldn't have existed. Maybe then, his parents would have been happy. He decided to take away his right to live, but his mother walked in on him, and that's when they both found out that he was awakened. With hope for a better future, Ji-young vowed to become a hunter. He will do so, and make her happy no matter what. Ji-young is awakened by sheer fury. He remembers the words of Yumin. The entire world is an enemy, but their biggest is Japan. Using his beastly strength, his objective is to kill Japan's strongest hunter. Kageru thinks that this is over, so he sheathes his blade. But Ji-young's head suddenly disappears and starts biting his ankle with all the force he can muster. Kageru notices that he is regenerating, but the pain he is suffering because of him is something he has never felt before. He cuts his head once again, but this time he is fueled by utter malice against his enemy. He summons the strongest technique he has, a crescent moon symbol falling on the ground. He rushes through the cave like a madman and summons the last technique of Kajiryu, the fatal and overcoming 12th moon. Ji-young is struck from every single angle, and the strikes are so swift and strong that they even escape out of the portal and spread throughout the area. The cave is left in utter shambles, and Kageru moves away to get out in order to take care of his injured leg. But that's when a bone penetrates his other one. Even after so much damage, Ji-young's black heart refuses to stop, and he begins regenerating once again. Kageru knows he has suffered some major damage, but he is more annoyed by the fact that someone dared to touch him, so he moves in once again. Outside, Juto and the elite hunters of Japan have all gathered up, but one of them wonders if this is not too many people. Juto feels that he has to check. It's been 3 days since Kageru has gone inside, and he's their #1 hunter, so they must take care of him. Before he can finish his sentence, Kageru's head flies out of the portal, and Ji-young also appears. Juto can only scream before being decapitated. At the Korean Hunter Association, Yumin's secretary asks if Ji-young can do it. Japan is powerful after all. Yumin notes that they have to wait and see. If he can win against Japan's strongest hunter, they will win. Juto suddenly strikes him into the ground, as he has summoned his abilities, protecting his neck. This is Ryuzaku Juto, Japanese Prime Minister, but also the SSS rank hunter of Japan, a beast amongst men. 3 years ago, a majority of the monsters from the normal gates were subjugated, and the world began fearing the people they were once counting on to protect them. Because of this fear, some countries attempted to eradicate the hunters, but they failed, unable to do a single thing. The hunters around the world saw this as an opportunity. Some reached an agreement with their nation, coexisted or conquered their country with their sheer force. Each has gained supremacy in their own special way. But the country that was conquered by the hunters was Japan. The reason for this is quite simple. The Prime Minister is an SSS rank hunter. He was an aggressive fellow even before awakening, and after the hunter system appeared, he tried to take control of South Korea. However, this ambition is now being tampered with because of a single vengeful spirit. Everyone, including Chuto, sees that Ji-young is regenerating, so 2 hunters jump in, one on the left being 7th and one on the right being 8th ranked in the country. They both begin unleashing their skills onto Ji-young, but within a second, he cuts the head of the 8th ranked and grabs the 7th, before smashing him into the ground so hard that his skull explodes, leaving only his lower jaw. Everyone is enraged at this gruesome sight. How dare he do that to one of their hunters? Huto is the most angered, and tells everyone around him that if they intervene, he will kill them himself. As Juto's blood boils, he remembers something from the past. He stumbled upon a kid who was sitting outside while it was freezing, and he asked why he was here. The child asked who he was, but Juto only sighed and gave him his jacket while taking him to a warmer place. As he was doing that, he asked what his name was. The child looked at him with his feverish eyes and said that he was Kageru. Juto brandishes a demonic appearance as his transformation overtakes him, and he punches Ji-young, who manages to block his attack. But the next time Juto attacks, he goes straight to Ji-young's hands and straight into his chest, before taking his face off cleanly. Ji-young still refuses to die, but Juto blasts his entire body with hot magma, seemingly burning him down to the bone. Everyone is surprised by Juto's strength, but he does not care. He goes to pick up the head of his prodigy, only to hear something coming from behind. That something is Ji-young, who is slowly regenerating back into the beast that he is. Juto remembers when he eliminated all of the resistance they had in Japan. He apologized to Kageru for making him do something like this. But this was not the end. They have barely managed to conquer Japan, and now they are going after South Korea and China too. He might actually die next time, so if he wants to stop here, he completely understands. Kageru told him that he was the only one who looked at him when he was dying on that street, and he is going to pay him back no matter what. However, there is something he wishes from him. When everything is done, can he call him his father? Shuto felt that this was a close-minded question. Even without asking, he is already his precious boy. Having had enough of this charade, Juto summons an entire volcano. The people around him only safe because the woman next to him has ice abilities. As Jihyung stands in front of the volcano, it bursts abruptly, and Juto synthesizes his entire body, vowing to make every single one of his cells disappear. With a single command, Jihyung is swarmed by heaps of melting lava, burning his flesh away completely, but he finds the strength to jump away from it and reach for Juto. Unfortunately for him, this has only proven to get him in a worse situation, as Juto throws him right into the center of the volcano while summoning extreme amounts of lava. Everyone gets away as the volcano gets bigger and creates a shadow on the entire city. Even while constantly being burned, Jihyung continues to reach for Yuto, his soul not recognizing the pain that he is in. Juto summons Haname to his side, who immediately uses her freezing abilities to make the surface of the volcano rock hard. Jihyung will now melt in there for the rest of eternity. In South Korea at the Kyumkang Guild, a woman is working very hard to bring the bully back from the dead, who manages to be reawakened, even after being left in such a sorry state. While Juto lets the hunters return, only allowing a few to stay besides him, Jihyung is annoyed and starts moving his hand up and down constantly. Apparently, this is not the first time he has experienced this kind of hot magma. The blood gate was filled with it. This experience is something he has been through tens of thousands of times. It's nothing for someone like him. However, even if he can get out, the pain does not get any less easy. He grits his teeth to bear it and props himself on the hard surface using his feet, allowing him enough leverage to hit his head again and again on the surface. Haname notices that the demon has gotten out. They cannot get rid of his rage so easily. Yuto notices too, and tells Haname to take the other hunters and run away as far as they can. Once again, he goes into his final form and lands so harshly that it makes Jihyung recoil back. Haname is worried for him, as when he started to conquer Japan, he was overdoing it. Hundreds of scars were strewn across his body, and the magma regeneration could not catch up to his injuries. Judo told her that amongst the great hunter nations like America or China, their country is the weakest. If they cannot absorb South Korea soon, there will be no survival for their country. Haname came closer and told him that many of their hunters would die in the process. But Juto told her he would just fight more if that was the case. Even if his body becomes pure ash, he will protect his country, one of the few things he cares about. Within a second, he jumps towards Jihyung and strikes him into the side of the volcano. He then grabs him by the neck and throws him forward, but Jihyung manages to land on his feet. Juto does not stop there, however, as he summons another river of magma and sends it straight into Jihyung, who tries to block, but is unable to. With him incapacitated, Juto jumps at the very top of the mountain and lands down with extreme force, making the entire volcano rumble and smoke. Haname tells everyone to leave, as Juto has told them to do so, but they refuse. They have all received tons of help from him on the personal level. They have all vowed to protect him with their very lives. Inside the volcano, Juto drags down Jihyung to its fiery depths, disintegrating everything he was or ever will be. With this task finished, Juto has won. Unfortunately for him, Jihyung's vengeful spirit refuses to let go, so he rises once again. Only this time, he knows who to aim for. The world took his loved ones away, so he will do the same to others. He grabs Haname even if she freezes him and drags her into the mountain, making Juto prepare a mythical strike, and the other hunters descend too. Juto tries something, but he can't strike like he wanted to because of his wife, so he grits his teeth and uses only one hand to cut Jihyung's grasp on Haname. This is exactly what Jihyung planned, as he turns around and cuts Juto's head clean off, this time unable to reattach himself. Every single hunter with them begins attacking the almost completely frozen Jihyung, and sure enough, they shatter him into tiny pieces. Haname is safe and sound, but Juto has died in the gruesomest way possible, his face stuck in an expression of pure anguish. They don't have time to mourn their loss, as Jihyung rises once again, his wicked soul emanating from within him with pure malice. As he approaches Haname, she goes completely crazy, but after a while, she wakes up in bed with her husband. She had the worst nightmare ever, but Yuto comforts her, as he's here. After she kisses him, she sees the reality of the situation. There is no coming back. Her mind broken, everyone around her dead. Haname chooses to take her own life and frees herself along with her husband. Jihyung has won, but his thoughts only wonder about his next victims. He returns to the portal, the only home he knows now, and eagerly waits for others to come. At the Kyumkang Guild, the woman who revived the bully, who is called Taesu, tells him not to overdo it. He was the only one with mana left within him, but even then they barely managed to save him. His friends are a different story. Taesu knows they barely had any mana in the first place, but he knows what happened. The little worm that he used to play around with when he was younger escaped the blood gate and killed him. He will never forgive that bastard. This is Kyumkang's guildmaster, the S-rank hunter, Han Taesu. Reports say that he's only S-rank, but that appears to seem untrue. After a while, the woman releases the seal on his ability, so he assembles all the members of their guild. Everyone bows down to him, and the head of the intelligence team, Han Kyung-chan, notes that the monster he searches for has moved to the gate after the Japan massacre. Tai-Su doesn't care about that. He just wants to kill the bastard and eradicate him from this world. With that in mind, Kyung-chan vows to find him and present his head on a silver platter. But suddenly, Tai-Su cuts his head off and begins absorbing his power. The others ask what he's doing, and Tai-Su goes on a rant about Kyung-chan. At first, he was the vice president of the Korean Hunter Association. When they absorbed that 3 years ago, he was able to dominate Korea. Additionally, his ability was S-rank telekinesis, which seems to work quite well. Nobody knows how to react as he crushes one of his subjects until he spills blood everywhere. The woman who healed him asked if what he was doing was wise. His ability is more of a curse than anything. Tai-Su feels the opposite. It's actually a blessing in disguise, and with the help of his subjects, he is able to get stronger and stronger. 1528 members have gathered at this place, perfect for Tai-Su to boost his power and enjoy himself. After a while, the ground is littered with corpses, and Tai-Su enjoys absorbing their powers. He's loving every second of it. The woman asks if this is enough, but Tai-Su denies it, as that worm killed the SSS rank prime minister. This is not nearly enough. He must kill that bastard no matter what, so he's going to Russia, where he will have a little feast. Yumin welcomes Ji-hyung back and begins the healing of his mother right away. Her S-rank healing restores damaged cells one by one using mana. It will take a pretty long time, but she vowed to save her. After she finishes today's session, she gets out and tells Ji-hyung that his mother will wake up in a week if she continues like this. She suddenly falls to the ground, Ji-hyung noting that this must cost a pretty big amount of mana. Why is she going this far for someone like him? Yumin grabs his hand and notes that he has to survive no matter what. She attempts to heal his hand, but he rejects it. However, she saw something from all of this. His beastification has progressed within the Blood Gate. Ever since the gates first appeared, 15 years ago, all other gates have slowly begun turning into blood gates. Since he has escaped, however, the change has picked up the pace, and as a result, all of the gates worldwide are turning into blood gates. The mana flowing from these gates is giving him strength, more than he can imagine. In terms of flow, if a regular gate is considered a hole, the blood gate is a passage. It is connected to somewhere, and something seems to be coming through it. That something refuses to let him go. The demons of hell have come to drag him back, even if they have to kill the entire world for it. Somewhere in a Korean city, tens of red portals appear, and the monsters power through, killing everything in their path. At the office of the Korean president, he asks why this is happening, and why the Kyumkang Guild is not answering them. His subordinate explains that the entire guild was wiped out. They are unsure of how. But what do? Request other countries for help? The president feels like that is the same as ending their country, so he tells his subordinate to declare martial law. Even if they cannot do anything with their military, even if they don't have Kyumkang, they still have hunters. The hunters in question are all trying their best. They are fighting left and right to protect their population, even if the odds seem to be against them at all times. Before they can even move, a gigantic monster moves in and crushes all of them. Ji-hyung is surprised to see what is happening because of him, with Yumin asking what he will do. Just when a woman is about to be killed by the same gigantic monster, Ji-hyung moves in and saves her. When he died inside of the Blood Gate, the mana there tried to turn him into a complete monster. He endured great pain to overcome it and obtained this abnormal regeneration as a result. That is what he thought anyway, but seeing this situation, it appears that the mana within him will not let him die until he becomes a complete monster, just like these fuckers are. He grits his teeth in anger. He finally had a nice thought after a long time. He wanted to live peacefully after treating his mother, but it seems like hell is not done with him yet. In the dimension where these portals come from, the king of the underworld watches Ji-hyung fight eagerly, as he must be the one who caused the crack to form. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Ji-hyung has promised Yumin that he will kill all of the monsters that come out of the Blood Gate in exchange for the healing of his mom, who already agreed to this. She will move her to the association's underground bunker, so he should fight hard with all that he's got. While he does just that, Ji-hyung seems to recognize these beasts, as they also appeared while he was in the Blood Gate for an entire 5 years. He knows that there's a limit to how many monsters can come out of one gate, even though it's a disastrous amount still. He has killed all monsters nearby. If this continues like this, he will finally be able to live happily with his mother. Suddenly, he gets shot through his thick skull by none other than the army, which has come to the rescue a tad bit late. One of them asks if what they are doing is right, as that thing did not kill any people. but only the monsters coming outside of the gate. The company commander does not care. That thing is the cause of this entire situation. They will just tie him up until hunter support finally arrives. Ji-young can only wonder what they are talking about before he gets pummeled by the tanks. All the while, everyone else continues to shoot him. Ji-young is feeling a pain he has never felt before and begs them to stop. But in the end, it is only his regeneration that actually saves him. The dark portal stands above him, giving him an extreme amount of energy that is driven by his anger. Yuman has warned him of this. Since the blood gate is open, he will continue getting energy, and suppressing the monsterification will be difficult. In a mere second, Ji-young has killed all of the soldiers, but what he sees in front takes him to the past. When he was being bullied, his childhood friend was the only one who took notice and asked him about it. Why did he let Tai-su and the other bastards pick on him like that? Ji-young knew that he was just an easy target, and advised his friend to pretend that they don't know each other, as he will surely get hurt at this rate. The friend was naturally mad, and asked if he was fucking crazy, but Ji-young did not even dare to attempt eye contact for his sake. The friend left, and that's how Ji-young lost his only friend in the entire world. That is what he thought anyway, because in reality, he was collecting evidence that was seen through his right eye. After gathering enough, he sent all of the photos to the police, the education office, and several news agencies. Unfortunately, the corruption already ran far too deep, and the next day, he woke up with his right eye taken from him. He finally gave up, and decided not to go to school with Ji-young anymore, for his own sake. Ji-young was extremely mad. He knew that it was Tai-su and his bastard friends. He would make sure that they paid the final price. The friend grabbed his clothes tightly and told him to never attempt such a thing. He does not know what he just went through. Ji-young asked him what he will do now, since he has lost his ability, but the friend told him not to worry. There's nothing much to live for anyways. He will just sign up with the army. Now, Ji-young holds the same friend he lost contact with in his blade, causing him to shake and scream out at this cruel world. The monsters take notice of his roar and charge in to eat him, but Ji-young begins to cut them up out of sheer anger. Even if more portals appear, even if he is outnumbered, Ji-young can only see the rage inside of him. At the president's office, they see that another monster is fighting the ones coming out of the blood gates, the same one who took out the Keomkang Guild and Japan's prime minister no less. He is the one who is responsible for the portals opening up like this. After some investigation, they deduce that killing it is the only way for the gates to return to what they used to be. The president asks why they are even fighting each other, but the assistant does not know. What is important now is that even the other monsters cannot kill that thing. Since the blood gates have begun to spread abroad, they cannot delay action any longer, and the domestic hunters they sent were all annihilated. The president did not want to do this at all, but he finally relented and contacted the Foreign Hunter Bureau. In China, the strongest was just about done with his business, and that's when he heard about Ji-young, who is causing the blood gates. He can see right now that this will be quite interesting. This is China's #1 SSS rank, Lun Zhuguang. Somewhere else, a woman takes notice of Ji-young too, and damns it all to hell. This is Russia's strongest, Vladimir Rusana. Inside a war zone, a priest feels the screams of pain coming from the people of Korea and beyond. It is time for him to go. His advisor suggests otherwise. If he leaves, the war with Russia will be hard to win. The man does not care for this war, and ends it on the spot with a single strike. With this objective completed, it's time for them to go. This is America's #1, the most powerful SSS ranker, Stephen Lucas. Ji-young has spent 5 hellish years inside the blood gate, fighting monsters and only doing just that. He had to suffer extreme conditions, as he could not eat, drink, or even sleep. He faced a constant struggle just to survive, but all the while, he was completely dead. Every time he lost rationality, the monsterification tried to turn him into a beast. But each time, Ji-young remembered 2 important faces. His own mother, who has suffered, and most importantly, the face of the fucker who was responsible for her suffering. This is how he prevented his monsterification. He channeled his anger into it, but has his resolve weakened because he finally got his revenge? That's not it. It's the mana from the blood gate that has gotten stronger. Controlling it has become much more difficult. Because of that, he has committed a sin and killed people, innocent people, who had nothing to do with this. In a form of atonement, Ji-young has decided to avoid the gates and kill all the beasts around them. But even so, he wonders if this is enough for him to forgive himself. Suddenly, his head is split into 4, and as his eyes fall down, he sees a familiar figure. The year that the gates appeared was at the end of it, and Christmas was in full motion. A priest was conducting his usual ceremonies and prayers, but that's when the gates began to spread around the church. There were no hunters to face the beasts, so the priest urged everyone to evacuate and leave quickly. However, through his will and prayers, he reached an awakening right there and then, allowing him great power. This church was the biggest in America. It had 100,000 believers gathered, and only 138 were lightly injured. Even if the situation seemed dire, the amount of deaths was zero, because Stephen Lucas had saved the day. He was the first SSS rank in the world, and at a young age, Ji-young truly admired him. That same hero is now right in front of him, which confuses Ji-young, as he's not supposed to be in this country. Lucas suddenly grabs him and smashes his head again, noticing that even with his powers, this beast will not die easily. Lucas does not falter, however, and uses his powers to push Ji-young away. He notices that he's heading towards a gate, so he sidesteps and lands on the ground. The Awakeners can communicate without translations because of their mana, so if it's him, perhaps he will listen. Ji-young says that he's no monster, which makes Lucas stop and listen to his story. Ji-young tells him everything, Lucas hugging him right after because of how hard this must have been for him. He asks for his name, which Ji-young says, and also asks if he knows that he fights to save people. Yet today, he has committed great sin and killed many of them. In order to not forget those brave people and to atone for his sins, he has engraved each of their names into his body. If he's honest, he can help him eradicate the monsters. But while they are doing that, this calamity will continue to spread around the globe, causing millions of people to die. He apologizes for not being able to rescue him, even though that is his purpose. But this must be done for the betterment of everyone else. He will forgive his damned soul, but his flesh must die immediately. Yumin continues to heal Ji-young's mother while watching what is happening. Rusana is amazed that Lucas Bastard just killed everyone and then left for Korea. Was he really saving all of his power up until now? One of her soldiers tells her that they have lost 80% of their forces. They cannot hold the front line, and at this rate, the American hunters will surely overcome them. Rusana damns it all again if they could just capture that fucking Arctic monster. Suddenly, Taesu appears inside of her impenetrable fortress and says that he can catch it for her. The Arctic monster was the first SSS-ranked monster humanity has ever faced, and with its appearance, the Russian Arctic base got wiped out in one swift blow. The Russian government was ignorant of the gate and the monster that came from within it before, but it mobilized all of their forces afterwards to no avail. In the end, they used half their nuclear bombs in order to deal with the threat. However, not only did the monster not die, because it was not damaged with mana, but due to the radioactive residue, Russia's north became an uninhabitable land, filled with monsters. Afterwards, in order to recover the exorbitant amount of cash they spent, they declared war on America. Rusana recognizes the man in front of her. He is an S-ranked Korean hunter, right? It's quite absurd, his appearance, that is. He came here with no permission, and is now boasting that he will defeat that thing, even though he's an S-ranked. Does he perhaps have a death wish he would like to fulfill? With no movements of her own, Rusana puts Taesu and his assistant to the ground. Taesu knows that she is here because of that monster, and that they got messed up by the Americans, but he can defeat it, and pretty easily too. Rusana asks if someone as weak as him can get through that radioactivity. He would need a shield at least, or something to protect him from the mess outside. That's when Rusana sees something extremely strange. She sees Taesu's true identity. With that in mind, she tells him that if he were to defeat that monster, she will personally give him half the monster's mana stones. Taesu didn't really care for those anyways. He will come back after he's done. Lucas continues to push his power onto Ji-young, completely eradicating him from existence in a powerful glow. Fortunately, only a small amount remains of Ji-young, allowing him to regenerate, but he knows that he cannot face such power. In only a second, Lucas arrives next to him, and even if Ji-young does manage to land a hit, Lucas only hugs him in return. He apologizes once again, but if he feels better by hurting him, then he should do so. Even if his regeneration is something truly amazing, it is not limitless. No matter how many times he tries to escape, he will embrace him and end his life without agony. Ji-young's only ability is to cover his body with an exoskeleton, but this is accompanied by mind-breaking pain. Even if this was supposed to be painless, Ji-young can feel his entire body burning and breaking. Each moment up until now has been excruciating for him. However, he endured through revenge and sheer hope. Unfortunately, Lucas's instant death attack that made regeneration constantly repeat has surpassed any and all pain he has experienced before, over and over again, each time getting worse and worse. Ji-young's mind begins to break as he relives the same pain. He remembers when he first met Taesu, who asked what he was watching. Ji-young was watching videos of Lucas, because he really respected him, but Taesu was more interested in his ability. Ji-young showed it to him, only for Taesu to punch him to the ground, as he is truly disgusting. Now Ji-young wonders only one thing: Why must he suffer so much? Who has he wronged? And what has he done wrong to receive such punishment from people who do not even know what it is like? Why must he go through the same pains over and over again? In his mind, he damns his creator and everything that he has ever created. A fragment of his consciousness still has morality. It tells him to stop. As if they live, innocence will die in their stead. Their mother is sure to live again, and that should be enough for them, right? Ji-hyung fades this last piece of morality by telling it to fuck off, and the portals around him suddenly begin to give him a ton of energy. Lucas is powerful because he has faith, but Ji-hyung has become powerful because of the world that has abandoned him. He strikes once, his power emanating throughout the city like a warning for those around it. He has managed to pierce Lucas, which a broadcast drone sees. Somewhere safe, his son watches and prays that his father comes back safe. The buildings around the area begin to collapse, but Yumin doesn't care. As she pushes to completely hear Ji-hyung's mother, she knows that she's overdoing it, but she pushes even harder, causing her to fall to the ground and vomit a dangerous amount of blood. Even if she has suffered great damage, the treatment is complete, and Ji-hyung's mother wakes up from her deep slumber. In Russia, Tae-soo gets the information that Ji-hyung is fighting Lucas right now. That bastard really has some guts, but their situations are quite similar. Ji-hyung has absorbed the mana from the Red Gates, which Lucas feels is extremely ominous. But even so, he will accept all of his pain and forgive him for his sins. Ji-hyung has had enough of his preaching, so he pulls out his blade and slashes Lucas, who disappears into thin air. He explains that most times, having someone who listens to your troubles can help a ton, so he shall be that someone for him and listen to his every worry. Lucas puts his hand through Ji-hyung's skull, who takes this as an opportunity, and cuts his arm off as it's lodged within. This causes Lucas to retreat, and even if Ji-hyung was extremely damaged, the pain no longer bothers him. His mind is filled with the thought of revenge. The hand lodged within him breaks open his head, but Ji-hyung still charges, while Lucas notes that after getting this ability, he constantly hears sounds, the cries of people in pain, the suffering of famine, illness, or other calamities, the shouts of pure agony from those who hope to be saved. Normally, not even he could bear something like that, but he also hears other sounds, sounds of hope, of support, and of happiness. The invocations of those who have been saved echo within, and even now, he can hear them. With a single loud clap, he completely eviscerates Ji-hyung, but he begins to get pushed back. As Ji-hyung comes out with no injuries, Lucas pushes hard once again, making Ji-hyung into a pile of blood. But even if 1,000 hands drag him down, Ji-hyung will complete his objective and kill this man. He escapes out of Lucas's hands and rushes in, with Lucas wondering if this is truly the only method he can win. He casts a cross on Ji-hyung, who becomes completely controlled, and knows that his belief will test him as he rips himself apart. 1,000 words, perhaps many more, begin to flood his mind, sheer happiness on his face as he mangles himself. Lucas knows that he has him, and he begins chanting like a maniac, driving Ji-hyung further into insanity, mangling more and more of his body, until he will be free of sin. Ji-hyung realizes what he's doing, and it hurts. Oh, it hurts so much. However, he must fear that man. He knows that he must. Through fearing him, he gains a warmth he has never felt before. He continues to rip himself apart piece by piece, finally realizing what this all means. The respect Lucas is receiving and the faith they have in him all come from fear and from his dirty mind control. He is no saint, but a snake who has deceived everyone. Lucas and everyone else continue to pray as Ji-hyung is completely eradicated, all having faith in their Lord and Savior. Tae-soo is having some difficulty with the ice beast, which is annoyingly strong, but this bastard is nothing compared to that American bastard. If he cannot kill something like this, he can't kill Ji-hyung either. He pushed even further because he had vowed that he would kill that bastard with his own hands. Nothing remains of Ji-hyung, but through his sheer spirit, the gates revive him, allowing him to sneakily attack Lucas with his ribs. Unfortunately, Lucas has noticed him, so he picks him up and crashes him into a building so hard the entire thing cracks. Ji-hyung lands down in the sewers, where his mother is for some reason, and wonders if the thing in front of her is really her son. Ji-hyung sheds a tear as he sees his mother, who slowly remembers what happened when they found out he was awakened. He promised to her that he would become a hunter and let her have an easy life, but she didn't want any of that, and considered his ability a curse from the devil. Judging by how he looks now, it seems like her theories were right. She begins to run away from him, but Ji-hyung doesn't get why. He's her sweet son, she has nothing to be afraid of. He rips himself apart and grabs her hand, causing her to fall. Ji-hyung knows that she's scared, probably because of what envelops him, but he can assure her that what she's seeing now is not him. Blood sprays as he rips himself apart, and his mother also punches him, which seems to be the final nail in the coffin for him. Lucas comes around and sees that his mother is still alive. He has lied in front of a righteous person. He is impious and shall receive mighty judgment. Before Lucas can do anything else, Ji-hyung swiftly cuts his head off, letting Ji-hyung suffer over his mother. However, something comes out of Lucas's head and goes directly into Ji-hyung's body. At first, this does not seem to do anything, but then Ji-hyung begins acting strangely, like someone entirely different has access to his body. The woman that took control of his body likes strong men, but hates weak ones, just like the countless men she has killed, because they couldn't accept her childlike glee. So she loved Lucas, to the point that it became an obsession she could not ignore. She wanted him, more specifically, to become one with him. A while later, she awakened her abilities and finally got her wish. She got a skill to become one with someone. With this, she always gets what she wants. This time, a man stronger than Lucas. Truly, this is the best thing that has happened to her. As she gains control of Ji-hyung's body, she sees his memories, and more specifically, one where he awoke at night and did not see his mother besides him. She was leaving the house, and he asked where she was going, but she suddenly began to sprint, forcing Ji-hyung to run after her, only to get hurt, and his ability to regenerate some of his skin. His mother only saw regret as she looked at the thing behind her, and with no regrets, continued to run. Ji-hyung did not stop searching for her, but his child body could no longer keep up. In the end, the only thing he could do is despair and beg his mother not to abandon him. He's her son. She should come back and stay with him. Why did she leave? Was it because her husband died because of him? Or is it because of this filthy ability of his? If he really is a monster, he ought to die like one. With the broken bottle he found, he slit his wrists, but his ability did not let him die, and painfully regenerated every injury. Ji-hyung knew that he couldn't die, but he refused to give up. He had had enough, so he began to stab himself in hopes of finally getting his wish. A while later, his mother's conscience got the better of her, so she returned to Ji-hyung, who apologizes as he did wrong. However, this doesn't come off no matter what he does. His mother was rightfully horrified, but she judged him too harshly. Even if he is a beast, he is still her son. The woman enjoys Ji-hyung's suffering a little bit too much, and since she can move his body now, she begins to dance, only to feel an immense amount of pain only from those movements. The pain she is feeling right now is something that she has never felt in her entire life. The exoskeleton has entered his intestine, and his muscles are twisting, causing his intestines to rip. What's worse is that it keeps regenerating, making it a never-ending symphony of utter pain. Does this man experience something like this every single second? Because of her weakness, Ji-hyung regains some control and tells her to get out of his own personal hell, as he will show her another. The woman cannot stand it and leaves, appearing before Ji-hyung and pleading for him to listen. Ji-hyung instantly cuts her in two and now looks at his mother, undecided on what to do. Out of Lucas's body, a holy light comes out, which emanates throughout the entire area. When Lucas's church was first attacked, the moment he received his powers, a revelation came upon his mind. He saw the disaster that was about to take place. He saw the evolution of mankind. He saw the eons and eons of life that came before them. He saw the universe, and he understood. That is why he did not oppose the woman when she came to steal his body, because he knew that this was God's will. Even if his body was controlled, he accepted God's will. And now, under a pile of warm blood, he is reborn as a saint, pure of flesh and mind. He knows that this is a trial that was put up by God, but he will gladly accept it. He hugs Ji-hyung gently and wonders why God has put such awful trials on just a child. Lucas removes the rough skin from his body, redeeming Ji-hyung for his sins as well. The horrifying worm that was summoned by the portals and is now causing havoc is instantly killed too, but Ji-hyung sees much more, as the entire world has descended into some type of hell. Lucas holds him up to see everything, but puts him down shortly afterwards and ascends to the skies. With his powers, a venerated angel comes to the earth's defense, and then a legion more, their light glistening like the burning sun. Their strikes liberate the earth of vile demons, this power being felt all over the world, even by those who are not religious. Lucas's son is feeling this the most, as before all this, he told him not to pray today. He knew what would happen because he has the same powers. Lucas hugged him tightly and said that eventually, all parents have to leave their children's side, and when that time comes, the child must stand alone. Luca, now transformed, tells Ji-hyung that a weight that is too heavy awaits him. He will experience much more pain and suffering. It will be dreadful and cruel, but even so, he begs him to not lose faith, up until the very end. As he fades away, he thinks that he has shed a lot of tears until now, especially so when his wife died. But now, in this moment, he feels pure bliss. His son understands and wishes his dad a final goodbye. At the same time in Russia, Taesu laughs like a maniac, his body beaten up to a pulp as he absorbs the monster. He has won, but it almost cost him his life. Yet his reward is great. He slows down his laugh as he remembers what his brother forced him to do. He really didn't want to, but his brother insisted that he must become strong so that their guild gets bigger and bigger. This was all for their father, and whether he liked it or not, he would still do it, because he was commanded to. Tae-soo really didn't want to, but he was forced to test his abilities on people, hoping that they wouldn't die. He goes back to Rosanna, who knows that Lucas helped too. But to really defeat that thing is truly impressive of him. As she promised, he will have half of the mana stones dropped by that monster. Tae-soo interrupts her, saying that he absorbed all the mana stones. Rosanna asks why he would do such a thing. His body will not be able to withstand it. He instantly charges Rosanna, but she keeps him down with only a finger, and asks why he did something like this. Why betray her? Tae-soo says that there's somebody he really wishes to kill. That is why he hopes that she can die too. She instantly kills the clone he made and says that those mana stones would have been able to strengthen the Russian forces tenfold, yet he dared to eat all the stones for such a stupid reason. Does he really have no intention of fighting for their motherland? Tae-soo summons a myriad of clones, all immediately getting struck down by Rosanna. Tae-soo knows about the danger that's to come, so he throws his assistant away. At the same time, Rosanna commands their death because of this insubordination, first striking at the assistant, whom Tae-soo protects with his clone. His mind splits into multiple as even more clones appear, all of them making him remember someone who died, someone he killed, and all the things he has done. All of them use their abilities on Rosanna, who with just a snap of her fingers, creates a pretty show of fireworks out of their guts and entrails. Rosanna is not done, as she creates a mighty black hole in the sky that threatens Tae-soo's existence, but he only smiles. He was with his assistant since he was young. She's called Yeju, and he always came to her when something bad happened. He told her about how he killed people, and that he did not want to kill, his child mind not realizing why he was forced to. Now he wishes with the same force to not die, creating so many clones that some of them don't even recognize who they are. He descends on Rosanna, and tells her to die with a face filled with malice. After Lucas disappeared from the earth, Ji-young began to cry, not because he was redeemed, but because this was all a bunch of bullshit. He doesn't care about what that man said. His body is back, meaning that he can finally go see his mom. Almost immediately, someone crushes him down under their foot, landing enough to pulverize Ji-young. In the past, at the Russian presidential office, just as the nuclear beast appeared, the president gave up, thinking that the world was officially over. Rosanna, who was the Minister of National Defense at the time, told him that they can kill that thing with mana. They just need to gather awakened individuals. The president told her that it was too late. They had already launched the remaining nuclear bombs all across the globe. He will not let this country die alone, so they should all die together. Rosanna immediately launched herself into the air and reached the nuclear bombs. With all her might, she pulled them as high as she could before they exploded. This spectacle could be heard all across the world. And after Rosanna landed, the president cowered down in fear, asking to be saved. Rosanna apologized, but she had to do this. He was an awful president, but a good father to her. With that, she took control of the country. But America saw that they just randomly launched a bunch of nuclear missiles. For the sake of world peace, they vowed to eliminate Russia post-haste. Rosanna knew she could not let this happen, so she told the American president that their president was already dead. They surrender. The American president couldn't give any less of a shit, and only mocked her. Rosanna's children came in, Medvedev and Elisa. They were both rightfully scared, but at that time Rosanna vowed to protect both of them, and this entire country. Rosanna now remembers the promise she made, and pushes even further. But even with this, she was already dead for a long time. She just did not realize it. At the Russian awakened residential district, her children wonder if the hunters that went to America will be safe, their nanny assuring them that they will all return soon. Medvedev and Elisa believe that they can fight too since they are awakened, but their nanny tells them there's no need for that. In what seems like a nanosecond, the entire residential area is taken out along with Medvedev. Tae-soo absorbs his power as he closes in on Elisa, her mind not even realizing what she is seeing or what even happened. Tae-soo decides to leave. He really doesn't have a need to kill her since their powers are similar. That's when he remembers what happens when he lets someone go, so he changes his mind, and Elisa is sent to see her brother. The hunter that has found Ji-young is quite interested in him, who falls down and only thinks about his mother. The hunter breaks him again, and then snaps his head in two. He continues to kill him again and again, as Ji-young screams for his mother, who he finds is rather rhythmic and pleasant. But he wonders, why is a grown-ass kid whining about his mother so much? Ji-hyung turned to him and asked if he does not have a mom. Is he really that much of a loser? Since the hunter had his fill, he kicked Ji-hyung into a nearby red portal, sealing him to the same fate he suffered many years ago. When his mother woke up, she was swiftly escorted through the underground bunker because it was not safe. Along the way, she got separated from the group, and that's when she saw her son, or what looked like a horrible abomination mimicking her son. She now wakes up once again, Yumin telling her that they are in the annex bunker now. The mother refuses to face reality. That thing truly cannot be her son. Yumin shows her that he is. He is now 23 years old. He got stuck in a blood gate all those years ago, although to escape, he underwent a transformation. After that, he blocked the explosion of the blood gate and has been fighting for the world and in order to save her sorry ass. Even now, he only thinks about her. After being kicked inside, Ji-hyung wakes up in his only childhood home, wondering if he really came back. He goes to his mother, but she bears the visage of his bones, making him realize that this is not the real world. He wakes up just in time to grab the opening of the portal, which causes him such great pain and suffering, his body multiplying and destroying itself all at once. He remembers when he asked his mom if she was okay, who confirmed that she was. Ji-hyung wondered if it was so, as his dad died because of him. His mother held her rage in and told him to just smile, as everything will become better once he begins to smile a bit more. Now, as Ji-hyung undergoes a different type of transformation, he forces himself to smile through the tears, an amalgamation of horrifying flesh and blood remaking him into what he was. He continues to smile as he comes out of the portal and strikes the hunter directly, laughing as he pummels the hunter. He understands, however, that he must go see his mother again in this form, so he turns to the hunter and asks why he has done something like this. Why has he made him into the monster he thought gone? The hunter gets out of the way before he can get swallowed, but Ji-hyung does not stop. He is adamant on killing this man, whether it takes him 100 or 1,000,000,000 deaths. In China, one subordinate wonders if this is okay. That beast is on a different level, as even America lost to him. Can they fight back? Ling Juwei, China's number 2 SSS rank, tells him that this is absurd. That man will not lose after all. He's her brother after all. China quickly resolved the gate situation with their huge numbers of hunters. Naturally, the nation could not hold the hunters, so they escaped their control and united under Sex to start a new generation that would propel them forward. However, they all died gruesomely, to only 2 people. He killed people, while Ling revived them to make them into slaves. This is how they united China under one gigantic banner, their rule absolute, their word as precious as the heavens. The reason all of this was possible was because of one person's strength, China's number 1 beast of pure strength and illogical strength, the SSS rank, Lun Guang. Unfortunately for him, Ji-hyung immediately breaks him into a bunch of tiny little pieces, showing the strength that he now possesses. He thought of this as fun, but he does not know the doom he brought upon himself. Unfortunately for Ji-hyung, Guang just remakes himself and cuts him down, along with the entire building behind him. He seems to be having a lot of fun, and Ji-hyung is too, coming up behind Guang and hitting him with a powerful strike. Guang easily grabs his attacking hand, but he does not seem to get something, as the thing he was supposed to fight was apparently a monster, but he is human. Ji-hyung asks what of it, and as Guang dodges his next attack, he says that even though he's human, he can sense the mana of a monster. Ji-hyung turns around to bite him, only catching his lips in the process as Guang sends him flying. Even if all of that is true, monsters are not supposed to be fighting while protecting others. He can see it. He has someone or something he must want to protect. Ji-hyung, sword still in his right eye, smiles and says that it's true. It's his mom who abandoned him again and ran away. However, he still loves her. Guang is curious about the story behind him. It's similar to him and his younger sister, but nothing is really the same. Once in his life, a man will dream of becoming the strongest. Their instincts are ready to fight powerful enemies, so if he is strong, he will fight and defeat him. Ji-hyung doesn't even let him finish his sentence before attacking, destroying part of the ghastly weapon Guang is holding, which begins to scream out in pain. As they are both having fun, the weapon directly asks Ji-hyung to be saved, but he doesn't care, and breaks it apart. As Guang brings out a bunch more weapons, Ji-hyung sees the human eye that came out of his last weapon, prompting Guang to explain. These are all ego swords. A blacksmith made them for him using hunter corpses. Ji-hyung exclaims in surprise as he charges in. They really are super cool. He lets his head be cut off so he can swiftly regenerate and strikes Guang into the wall. The S-ranked blacksmith, Gal Yakbong, is also there. He has been gathering corpses, around 40 at this point. Guang tells him to get to work as he continues his fight with Ji-hyung, and Yakbong does as he is told, striking his hand hammer into the flesh blob that he will fashion into a weapon. The people used in this vile creation scream out, most of them in pain and in fear. It only takes a few minutes for Yakbong to finish his latest work, and in his words, it's a masterpiece. He hands the reins over to Guang, who grabs the handle and immediately throws the weapon at Jiyong, who gets hit, but as he has clung to it, he can hear a mother and a daughter cry out for each other, their screams getting more and more desperate. Jiyong grabs both of them and reunites that lovely family in eternal death, but Guang is not done and hits him again. Jiyong finds it simply amazing that all those bastards who were killed by monsters are all gathered in a single place. He has killed tons just like them, who were once alive. Seeing how these guys are essentially already dead, killing them really is easy. Gong points another weapon at him, explaining that he tries to record almost everything when he fights. So he bought an eye from Korea 5 years ago just for that purpose. He fashioned a blade after the owner of that eye too. Ji-young is shocked to see his old friend here, and Guang gets all he needs to know about him from his ability. He can see that he did not even fight and ran away like a weakling. He truly is a despicable monster who only deserves death. Ji-hyung finds himself in front of his old friend and can't even bear to look at him because of the guilt. He crouches down to his level and says that it's all right. They are friends after all. However, why did he do this to his only friend? He only tried to help him, so why did he kill him? Ji-hyung screams out as he is haunted by his friend's words, and something comes to his mind, his mother's advice to just smile. He begins to do just that as he rips his face apart, but even that doesn't seem to be working anymore. He tries to end his life again and again. Countless times he tries until he loses count. After a final attempt, he leaves the trail of his own body behind him and asks Guang to kill him. Back in China, Zhu wonders if her brother is having fun, but that's when a guard comes and informs her that the northern hunters were all annihilated. It seems that Taisu has come to get even stronger, whether she likes it or not. In northeast China stands the Black Dragon fortified castle, or at least it did, before Taisu caved it in. Due to the amount of powers he took, he begins to freak out, his mind not bearing the load he put on it. His assistant begs him to stop, as he was actually the one who has been wrong all this time. Taisu denies such a fact. Back when he bullied Ji-hyung for the first time, he only did it because he was disgusting. He would have left it at that, but Taisu laughed and agreed that it was gross. As he apologized, Taisu became even more infuriated. That's why he believes that he started it. Guang smashes Ji-hyung's face with his foot before raising his spear and cutting his limbs off. He does not stop there, as using a bunch of coordinated strikes, he shreds his entire being, leaving only a measly eye. He throws that into a nearby building too, but this does not stop Ji-hyung's regeneration. Guang cuts him up again, this going on for a while as the bodies keep piling higher and higher. This does not stop Ji-hyung, who still smiles as he pushes through the spear and strikes at Guang, who only annihilates him time and again. No matter how Ji-hyung tries, he cannot seem to reach him. Guang throws him into the ocean with a spear, where Ji-hyung feels his lungs fill with water, his eyes diluting and regenerating at the same time. He once again remembers his mother's advice, to smile. Even through his water-filled body, he laughs, but his mind deteriorates further, creating a rage that ushers in a bunch of red portals, giving him a power that he has never had before. Guang is even more intrigued, but he cannot even react as Ji-hyung cuts through his jaw and decapitates him. However, Guang grabs and puts himself back together before he loses himself, his regeneration perhaps even more grotesque. He crushes Ji-hyung again, who comes back and prepares a strike using his new appendage. Guang's speed overcomes him once again, launching him into the air with 100 spears. As Ji-hyung flies through the barrier between atmosphere and space, his head falls down, burning brighter than the shiniest diamond as it burns. Guang is overcome by this beautiful sight, and as Ji-hyung regenerates, he can only remark it as beautiful. In China, Zhu takes control of the situation. She apprehends Taisu and his assistant before asking if he was the one who killed her loyal people. Zhu wonders what he will do now, as he will have to face 100 million hunters all by himself. Taisu immediately creates an explosion and rushes away with his assistant, who even in this dangerous situation wonders why he is going this far. Taisu explains that he cannot give up now as the soldiers follow them. He must kill Ji-hyung no matter what. He remembers a talk he had with his old friends. One of them said that there are too many hunters in the world. They have begun fighting amongst themselves. Eventually they will surely come to conquer Korea as well. Since the situation would become dire, he suggested to Taisu that if they die fighting, he should simply absorb their mana. Taisu was shocked. How could he ever do such a thing? The friend actually thought it was pleasant if he did that. They could live eternally with him. They are friends after all, right? Taisu was touched by his words, and he hugged them tightly, vowing to stay friends forever. Now, Taisu laments that he could not keep his promise. all because of Ji-hyung. His assistant is shocked by what he said, not because it's true, but because this is not how that happened. His two friends did indeed talk about other hunters coming to invade Korea, but Taesu was actually above them in a tree and said that they will all get killed like the dogs they are. His friend tried to say something, but Taesu immediately descended and asked if there was a problem. He leaves the assistant in a cave, as he must avenge his friends once and for all. As he leaves, she looks at him with sadness. Just what the hell is going on with him? After he passes the mountain range, he comes face to face with the army of controlled hunters. Zhuwei is not China's number 2 for nothing, as her abilities allow her to revive and enslave the dead awakened. This ability allowed her to revive every hunter in China, so it's not an exaggeration to say that she is the embodiment of China. But at this very moment, even someone like her felt that something had gone horribly wrong. Taesu descends with an army of his own and begins to slay the undead awakened. Zhuwei immediately figured out that the person in front of her had completely dominated the SSS rank actually. Perhaps he even stood beyond comprehension. This guy, this single young man, has transcended his humanity and now stands above them. The undead awakened are emotionless and calculated, but even they started to begin to fear, and the survival instincts that got left over made them run away. They did not want to court death. Zhuwei did not want to give up, so she told them to charge, as she is right behind them and will revive if anything goes wrong. She had a perfect remedy for their fear, and that was simple hope. However, Taesu has become too strong, so he slices through them like a child in a drawing. He can only think of slashing as his entire body contorts, making him remember someone who was erased from his memories so long ago. His brain hurts as his mind continues to deteriorate, but Zhuwei has not given up yet. She is the Queen of China, and will not lose to a scoundrel like him. Taesu says otherwise, as he cuts her head off within a second, allowing her to remember why she even did all of this. When they were young, the Manhwa sect attacked their lands and completely overpowered them. Because the leader was an SSS rank, Jia Aomen. He wondered why they were still here when this was their territory. Zhuwei's mother called him a bastard, as this is where her family has lived for centuries. Before she could finish her sentence, Aomen cut her head off, and it landed right in front of her hiding children. Zhuwei naturally began to cry at this sight, but Guang wondered why she was crying. Both of their parents died because they were weak. That's the law of nature, right? Zhuwei was surprised that he was not sad, but why would he be? He knew that he's going to become strong, and that he would kill those guys anyway. Now Zhuwei cries just as before, not because she is sad, but because she must have died because she is weak. Almost like reading her mind, Taesu confirms as such as he steals her candy and crushes it under his teeth. Ji-hyung immediately descends on Guang, crashing him into the building they were standing in, then into the earth, and finally right into a red portal. He pushes even harder to make Guang go inside, as this was his plan after all. Unfortunately, Guang manages to grab Ji-hyung's body before he descends and applies a deadly poison that paralyzes him. He is shocked to see that he came out of a place like this one. He's truly incredible. This is why he's so strong. He will acknowledge him. Out of everyone he has ever fought, he is by far the strongest. Because of this, he will use this ability on himself for the very first time. His poison arts combine all the world's poisons into this substance, which directly attacks his cells and keeps them in tremendous pain. Now, he can only wonder if he can actually handle it, but Ji-hyung immediately slashes back at him, almost as if the poison never got to him. Guang feels a childlike emotion, like when he ate his first candy, or his father's gentle smile. His first duel and subsequent victory, his second, third, ninth, his millionth victory. This feeling is even better than all of those combined. He wonders why that is, so to find out, he fills the entire area with deadly poison that sweeps both of them into it, both smiling like maniacs. Guang remembers when a woman said that she loved him, but he did not get that feeling, even after lying with countless women. The woman was sad to hear this, but promised him that someday, he will feel it for the first time. Now Guang understands what love is. Ji-hyung grabs him, and because of the red portal, they both start to merge into one another, both feeling the other's memories firsthand. After the building crashes down completely, Ji-hyung is still conscious, but it seems that Guang has been shredded to scraps, leaving only him in this dark hell. His mother watches this as she attempts to walk and thinks of her son. Back in China, Yeju meets with Taesu, who asks why all of this happened. He remembers his father and abusive mother. He raises his fist in the air, but ultimately puts it down. All he wanted, all of this time, was to be loved. He begins spouting gibberish, his mind trying to race in 100 different places. Suddenly, someone appears behind him, a scarred woman holding something. Yeju recognizes her as Japanese hunter Haname, but what is she doing here? It seems that she has heard they are gathering forces to get revenge on Ji-hyung. Tae-soo immediately turns to her and asks if she wants to become his strength, but it's not just her. She has heard that there's a hunter in their team who can bring the dead back to life, so all she wants is for them to save this person. Together, they are Japan's strongest hunters, and they will be of help. Tae-soo begins to laugh like a maniac, and then suddenly just agrees. Juto does wake up as promised and meets Haname face to face, or rather, her decapitated head. Tae-soo says hi to him in a taunting voice, prompting Juto to rush him with an ultimate attack, but Tae-soo simply decapitates him too, and gains all of his powers along with all his memories. He can feel his hate for Ji-young intensify, and his mind continues to weaken. The building crashes down on Ji-young, who immediately begins regeneration, as it seems that Gwang is still partly alive. He begins screaming at Ji-young out of desperation, who simply crouches down to his level as he regenerates. Gwang says that this was pretty fun, and remembers what his father told him as they were watching their family burn down. He has to become strong so that he will not experience this humiliation ever again. He should be so strong that he can even beat his own father. Gwang immediately cut his head off and was glad that he won, but he wondered why his dad wasn't responding. Now he would like to apologize to his father, because he lost. Yakbong sees his demise and crouches down, sad to see that his master has finally died. He uses his hammer to strike himself in the head, creating an area where the dead are slowly rising from their graves. Ji-young doesn't move, allowing an undead to strike his head, who seems adamant about his demise. 100 more descend on him, and with whatever tools they could get their hands on, they pummel Ji-hyung like beasts. One even drives a truck over him. Ji-hyung is sad because he can no longer meet his mother like this. As a chainsaw slowly descends on his flesh, he thinks that it's finally time for him to die, but suddenly his mother appears, who calls him out, making her become a prime target for these vengeful spirits. Someone actually strikes her with a stone, making Ji-hyung go over the tipping point. Tae-soo's madness continues as he absorbs Yuto, but Yeju cannot bear to see him like this and attempts to seal his ability, as she cannot lose him. Her dad always used to beat on their mother, but she did not seem to care, as she had autism. For them, the gates and the manifestation of awakeness were a calamity unlike any other. Their mother couldn't control her abilities and took out their dad right then. Because of her mental disorder and because she had children, she was put on probation. She was a fool back then. She thought that things would get better, but her brother had other ideas. From the next day, he started working in place of their father, and also took his place in the beatings. As the days passed, his acts became more and more severe. Suddenly she awakened. So since hunters make money, she thought that she could escape this hell, but it seemed that her brother switched his target. She tried to rush out of the house, but because she tripped, his brother had free rein and started beating on her. Their mother tried to save her, but he kicked her to the ground, causing an injury that she wouldn't ever wake up from. Yeju had enough, and called him a piece of shit, but he immediately began pummeling her too, beating her half to death. That same night, she met up with Tae-soo, who confessed that he had killed another person. How many will he kill until this stops? His mother and father are not here anymore. His ability truly is a cursed one. Yeju revealed that her ability will let her seal his ability, but before that, she would like him to kill one more person. They went home, and just as her brother opened the door, Tae-soo struck him down, seeing all that he had done to his family. Suddenly, his brother appeared, who immediately put a collar on him and asked what he was doing. Has he not had enough of killing people? Was there truly a need for him to kill one more? Yeju tried to attack him, but his brother noticed and grabbed her hand. Tae-soo couldn't let her die, so he started dragging himself on the ground, which allowed Yeju to seal his brother's ability. Tae-soo immediately struck him down before he could even say a word, ending their cycles of abuse. Tae-soo told the crying Yeju not to worry, he would always take care of her. Yeju attempts to seal him for good, but Tae-soo reacts just like his brother, and before she could say a word, completely annihilates her. He immediately realizes what he has done, and her memories come flooding into his mind. A hand reaches out, Yeju's hand, asking why he did it. Tae-soo screams out in terror and starts vomiting on the ground. Afterwards, he smashes his head on the ground again and again to forget, but this will always be with him. He knows what he must do, so he sends hundreds of versions of himself to search for red portals, and they all begin to close them. This proves impossible at first, but Tae-soo goes over the limit and actually manages to close the first one. The undead still wish for life, and ask the president to save all of them as they strike Ji-hyung's mother. He tells them not to worry. Unfortunately, she cannot do anything, but they are all destined to die anyway. Ji-hyung has fully regenerated, and his mother begins trudging towards him. She remembers him not as the demon standing in front of her, but as her crying child, who only wants comfort. She now realizes what she has done and says that she will always love him. But unfortunately, she does not get to finish that sentence, as Tai-Su rips her completely in half before taking Ji-Young's head off. He has managed to close all of the gates in the world. The one he's in right now is the last one. He pushes Ji-Young into it and waves him goodbye, as this is the last time they will meet. Ji-Young utters his name again and again as the portal closes up on him, sealing his fate forever. Just as he lands, the beasts waiting for this moment all jump on him, ready to feast on his undying flesh. In his rage, Ji-Young begins to fight with uncontrolled rage. In his eyes, these fearsome demons are not what they seem. He sees visions of Tai-Su and rips them all to shreds. Even if giants trample on him, he does not give up. This entire world is out for his death, but his undying hatred will not let him go. 6 years pass. Tai-Su is remembered as a hero for his actions, but he doesn't care about that. One of the women next to him says that he's being too cold, making him remember Yeju, so he immediately kills her. The other runs away just as Yumin gets into the room, who says that doing things like this won't fix his pain. Out of everyone, only she can heal him. Tai-Su begins crying, remembering that the undead were cheering for him, but he didn't want that. He goes back to the old playground he used to frequent with Yeju. Her seat was broken, leaving only him. Suddenly, Yumin appeared and comforted him gently. He didn't expect for her to become like this when she was helping Ji-Hyung, but she actually asks if he wants to see him again. Even though he killed his mother, he did not fight him. He just threw him in a blood gate and closed it. Was he afraid because he defeated all the SSS ranks before him? Tai-Su pins her to the bed and says that he wants to see him, so that he can rip him apart. He even tried to open a blood gate. He was curious to see what he was doing, but he failed. Yumin wants to tell him something. According to the universal laws, the world will periodically fall. At times like these, the gates appear, and when time passes, these gates will become connected to hell and turn into blood gates. Even though he locked Ji-Hyung there, the owner of that place will find him, so he shouldn't worry, as they will meet soon. He should wait until that day comes, if he ever wants to meet him. Tai-Su pins her again, and asks who the hell she is, but she only wonders if he's really that curious. She will sate his curiosity with another tidbit of information. Hell's manager is called Pale. Once all the world's gates turn into floodgates, he's the one destined to lead the army that will eradicate the world. He has ruined thousands of worlds until now, but this was the first time that all of the gates closed. Creating gates is the law of the universe, and even Pale cannot do that. However, Ji-Hyung, who escaped hell and created fissures in the dimension, with Pale's power, he could theoretically open gates. So when Ji-Hyung fell in again, Pale sensed human mana and tried to find him, but ultimately failed. Ji-Hyung had become a monster in the truest sense of the word. Now though, 6 years have passed, and Pale has finally found him. A red hue appears outside, as the end of the world has begun. Ji-Hyung sits down with 2 other people and watches his story. He had a nightmare that his mother was ripped in half, and he had been in hell for 6 years living as a monster. Even if he received his powers, he could leave, and the world would be destroyed as a result. Is he crazy? He just wants to get out of here. He wants to leave so that he can have his revenge. He wants to do the same thing to Tai-Su. Actually worse, something so painful that keeps him alive. He will rip his guts out and lungs. Even so, he cannot kill so many innocents. But actually, he was also innocent once. His father passed because some guy decided to run a red light. What did he even do to deserve being beaten by Tai-Su, that fucker? Killing everything after the 5 years he spent here in the Bloodgate was self-defense. He destroyed Japan so he could save her too. Lucas was different. He kept spouting bullshit. He even had the power to help him, but in the end did nothing. Then that Chinese guy showed up and died on his own. If not for him, they would have lived happily ever after. Actually, not really. Who would have thought that Tai-Su would kill his mother no matter what he did? He would like to be honest with her. He has already killed innocents, and now he feels like he wants every single one of them to suffer as he did. The show ends, and Ji-Hyung, along with both sides of his mother, seems to have enjoyed it. Thanks to Tai-Su, the world has enjoyed peace for a long time. Everyone is happy without him, but this is not the end. All that remains is nothing, so it's time for him to go. He looks back at himself one more time and wishes him farewell. The gigantic gate opens, and Ji-Hyung, the angel of hell, descends. He and Tai-Su look at each other before Tai-Su begins to split himself into hundreds of clones. This is the last battle, Ji-Hyung's army of resentment versus Tai-Su. Their clash begins with an explosion. Ji-Hyung charges Tai-Su with his dragon that spits out a hellish energy into the ground, corrupting it completely. Tai-Su creates his own dragon and charges Ji-Hyung, but their strikes go beyond reasoning, as thousands of portals open by the second. A grandmother who is mourning her son is killed. Others stand dead because of their past actions. And somewhere, a boy, just like his father once did, is saving lives with his holy powers. Ji-hyung summons hundreds of portals to grab Taesu, but he uses his powers to summon a vengeful spirit to freeze his leg, one that hates him to the very core. Ji-hyung is threatened by all the souls he killed, and Taesu charges forward, clearly seeing the lines around his neck. But Ji-hyung soon grabs them and smashes him into the ice they now find themselves in. Taesu gets out, as all the other hunters of the World Hunter Alliance are beside him. More specifically, however, they are inside him, as their powers create even further conflict in his mind. Now Ji-hyung understands his ability, and laughs as Taesu smashes him into the ice. Really, he was the one who killed him, right? His father. Taesu tells him to shut up, but at the same time his neck flies away, taking him by complete surprise. Taesu remembers his father. He beat him when he saw that he was not awakened, and proceeded to do the same thing to his mother. Little Taesu could not take the screaming and the yelling anymore. One day he took charge with a knife, and by pure coincidence, he tripped, causing him to fall over his father, and the knife to fall squarely into his neck. At that moment, he awakened his powers, and his mother ran away, leaving only his brother, who enslaved him and caused everything up until now to happen. Even as he tries to sleep, visions of the people he killed haunt him. They rip him apart until he wakes up. Yumin knew that was happening again. He must be suffering, but she wondered just how many people are within him right now. Taesu asked if she can seal people's abilities, which she could not. But couldn't he do it? Taesu could not go on any longer. He wanted to meet Yeju again. He has tried to revive the dead countless times, but each time he failed. Hopeless, and not knowing what to do, he discovered a new method. He came to know that time and space can be distorted with the use of gravitational forces. That's right, he can go back to before Yeju's death, and by using gravity, he has experimented with a total of 14,000 abilities. He destroyed several continents, and almost lost his life one too many times. But in the end, he succeeded in turning back time. There was a flaw, however. No matter what he did, he couldn't go back to the period he wanted, meaning he could not go and save Yeju. Why was that so? Did the timeline get cut off because he closed the gate? Something like that is impossible. He needed to find a way, so he tried every method he could think of. Like this, he traveled back in time an infinite number of times, and failed each time. He had enough and stopped entirely at one point. However, now this sadness is projected into anger. This is all because of Ji-hyung. He will make sure to kill him before he dies, but he will never die. Using the same power, he regresses to the day of the attack. With this, he can have his revenge. Unfortunately, 24 hours later, he still cannot do anything, even in his 138th time. When he turned back the first time, he cornered Yumin, and told her he knew of all of it. Ji-hyung, Hel, and Pael. He revealed that he could turn back time. She was the one who told him about all this. But just who is she? Did she know about this too? Yumin denied it. Her ability is to read and heal the flow of life, and as that ability grew stronger, she started seeing a greater flow, from seeing the currents of the air and water, to the gauge of the earth, until eventually she could see the pulsation of the stars. The last stage she reached made her see the birth of their planet, and its demise. She saw the future where Ji-hyung comes out of the gate and destroys the world. Either way he puts it, they are all destined to die. Everything is meaningless. That is why she just lived recklessly. However, she never saw anything like what is happening with him now, so Taesu asked how he could trust her. In turn, Yumin asked if he had a reason not to. If she were lying, he would have already turned back time and killed her. Taesu told her to just come up and tell him one thing. Ji-hyung, how can he kill him? She told him that he can't, but he still tried. The second and the third time were the same. Things continued like this again and again, until he reached 138th time. Even if he goes back in time and tortures Yumin, she is not lying. Does that mean that it's really impossible to kill this bastard? Unfortunately for him, he will not give up. He learns to control his regression, but he can only go back 6 years, to the point where he killed Ji-hyung's mom. Would he stop if he saved her? No matter what he does, a non-awakened person cannot be saved. Even if Yumin were to come, it would be impossible. Now he understands. The only way out of this mess is death. During all those 6 years, he killed all the awakeners in the world and absorbed their mana. And when Ji-hyung came out, he closed all the blood gates. This caused Ji-hyung to come out alone, and after opening the gate, he instantly destroyed it. However, Ji-hyung was too strong for him, and he kept regenerating and killed him every single time. Even if he trapped him into a diamond harder than anti-Hing in the world, Ji-hyung would just destroy it and kill him. Even when he tried destroying the planet, Ji-young rushes through the planet itself to kill him. He pushed him into a black hole at one point, but he somehow escaped and killed him. This is all because of him killing his mom and putting him in that blood gate, that he's able to do this. As long as those two factors still happen, he will continue to die. He screamed out in rage. But after turning back countless times, he finally realized that what Yumin said was true, that Ji-young's arrival was inevitable. Once this revealed itself, he lived 6 years in despair, but Ji-young still came to kill him. He turned back time once again because he did not want to die, but after repeating this, he suddenly realized something. He always moved alone, in this quest to kill Ji-young. That was the thing. He never opened up about his feelings to anyone but Yeju. But would that make a difference if he stopped trying to do this alone? In this timeline, Taesu did not kill a single person. Instead, he told the story of what had transpired up until now to everyone. From killing Ji-young's mother to how he traversed time, he spared no detail. Once he was done, he asked for their help. They all coldly walked away. But using his time travel, he gathered knowledge to try and convince everyone. The people he sacrificed to become strong were not just nameless morsels. They all had their own stories and used to live their lives just like him. At the same time, Taesu began having conversations with the mana of those people, who had become a part of himself after he absorbed them. It was like he was talking with his inner self. He wondered how much time had passed already, and how much he had rewound. Once he was done with this, conversing with every single part of his being, he was able to look back and face the choices he had made. He realized the cruelty and gruesomeness he had committed. However, that was also why he could not waste any more time. He did not want to experience such a pain of losing loved ones ever again. He sent out an apology to Ji-young, feeling guilty because of what he did to him, but he also stated that things would not end until he took his last breath. Unfortunately for him, that was a gigantic miscalculation. Taesu tried his absolute best as a human. He researched Ji-young's attack patterns through repeated battles, and he taught and guided all the hunters at the exact same time. That is how they fought together, and the battle went on and on for thousands of times. But it was all in vain. Yumin's words shook his brain, as in the end, this was all a pointless struggle. He apologizes to everyone, but he cannot continue anymore. Suddenly, however, someone jumps in front of him that he has not seen in a long time, the one who abandoned him, his mother. Ji-young understands. This is the mother who left him behind. He almost hit her. What an accident that would have been, right? Taesu screams out in eternal pain, as this is all that he can do anymore. His mother had been born from a strategic marriage between a congressman and a judge. From a young age, she was molded to be perfect. It was a cruel way of living, yet she lived without complaint. For her, the truth of life had become one thing: absolute perfection, to be flawless at everything. However, the emotions that she believed suppressed led her to make an imperfect choice when it came to love. She was a college freshman who got involved with a senior at her program, which ultimately led to her pregnancy. She was subsequently ghosted by that senior and also abandoned by her own family. That was the price she paid for making an imperfect decision. For her, his brother was undeniable. From that moment, she knew that she had to uphold perfection, even in the matters of love. Why now, though? He has never once seen her in any of the time travels he did. Is it because she sees him as perfect? Or perhaps is she here to achieve a perfect death? Any which way, she got her wish as she got split into two. Taesu's mind begins to shatter. His whole visage of the world changes, and soon enough, he realizes how Ji-young felt all this time. He began telling him of everything, the countless time travels, the countless killings and deaths, and of his realization. He won't even think of turning back time. He apologizes, he did something cruel to him, and kickstarted all this mess. Ji-young asks why he did it, why he killed his mom. Taesu would like to give him a good answer, an answer to justify all of this. But if he's honest, he doesn't know either. Ji-young cuts his head off, Taesu being able to finally rest after such a long life, but he gets sent back. He realizes that he must have subconsciously turned back time before dying, so he shuts his brain off and cuts his own head off. Unfortunately, he is revived again, so he beats his head with a metal pipe, but the result is the same. He throws himself off a building, yet the result is the same. He keeps coming back no matter what. He screams out asking what else he has to do. He admits that he has achieved enlightenment or whatever. He thought it would be nice to die dignified, but so what? He does not care for living anymore. He wants to die. Unfortunately for him, this has become a death loop, and he cannot get an answer as to why he keeps coming back. Until Yumin comes, that is. He begs her to tell him something, so she explains that this is because of the endless reversals in time. As the mana stacked layers upon the fabric of time, his causality twisted, and time closed on itself. Now, once he dies, he will return to this exact point. As long as he comes back here, he will be killed by Ji-young, no matter what he does. He will have to understand, This is his fate from now on. He will die, endlessly and forever. Taesu cannot fathom such a thing, and asks who the hell she is. And once she tells him, he can only let out a laugh, knowing that it truly is over. With Taesu's death, Pale summons the legions of hell onto the earth that raze it to the ground, leaving only a red haze all around. Yumin congratulates Jihyung on a job well done. The administrator of hell, Pael, for an eternal time, had endlessly razed worlds to the ground. He lost any sense of identity, along with any reason for his actions. All that was left was destruction. But suddenly, he felt a wave of loneliness from deep within, so he attempted to create life, but failed each time. He was so desperate that he ripped out his own heart and created a daughter, who would live on as his alter ego. Yumin confirms this to Jihyung. She is Pael. As he can see, however, she is human. Living in hell was not possible for her, so she was abandoned during birth, outside of the gates around 4.5 billion years ago, in the ravaged lands of the earth. She wanted death, but because of Pael's power, it wasn't possible. As long as they stayed in different dimensions, she would come back to life no matter what. The thing that made her despair was that she could not meet Pael until the earth was destroyed again. She lived hundreds of millions of years all alone, consumed by loneliness and bitter hatred. He would never understand what people meant to her when she, who lived alone, finally came in contact with them. She fell in love too. She started forgetting about that loneliness. But as time passed, the love of her life left her all alone. This time, she had children too. She saw them have children of their own, and witnessed those children have children as well. She accepted farewells. She met new people, and throughout time she had countless lovers. However, they all died, leaving her alone. The loneliness she thought gone now crept up on her once again. Throughout her life, she endured unimaginable pain, but that was something she could never overcome. In that moment, she understood her father. He had tried to rid himself of this loneliness, even by offering his heart. That was the moment when his heart showed her the future, the one future where they could meet again. That future was to cause the outrage of a bloodgate through him. The fact that he overcame the monsterification and escaped hell went against the laws of the universe and created a fissure in the dimension. She saw all the possible futures of the world, and only he could do that. Jihyung asks if she used him, but that's when he realizes his dad, his mom, all his life, was it her doing? She confirms as such, causing him to lunge forward, but with a single touch, she removes his powers, as the future she saw ends here. For his sake, she gave Taesu the most horrible death. He is now stuck in a loop, suffering endless deaths. She is sure he does not understand, but he should not worry, as everything will come to an end now. Yumin knows that once she is in the same dimension as Pale, she can die, and if she does so, Pale will fall too. The day she came to understand his loneliness, she made this decision. She would find him again, burn the entire world down, and with her death, take him with her to end the cycle. Jihyung is no different. No matter how much he went through, he clung to life because of his mother. That wasn't love though. It was pure and utter loneliness. Love is actually a cruel deception, an illusion to seal the cracks in the soul. It numbs out loneliness but never erases it. It is a curse disguised as salvation. Now though, everything will come to an end, like it should have so many years ago. As she disappears, she asks Pale if he hates her. But how could he hate his daughter, who's also his other half? How could he ever loathe her? Jihyung stares at this, and wonders what the hell they are doing after using him, his mother and father, and even wiping out the damn world. They get this peaceful ending? What was their reason to do all this in the first place? Because they were lonely? That's some damn bullshit. Pale literally turned him to normal when he had become a complete monster. With that power, he might be able to bring his mom back. And since that man told him not to lose faith, he will make use of their weakness. If they are going to die, he will have their power. He begins eating Pale's heart, and Yumin says that now he's just an ordinary human. There is no way he would be able to absorb Pale's power. Suddenly, however, he does. With a gigantic explosion that threatens to wipe everything away, Yumin screams at him not to do it. Has he not realized that loneliness cannot be rid of without death? Jihyung doesn't care. He's going to meet his mother again. Yumin sees that he's absorbing all of Pale's power, and judging by his visage, now she understands what this all is. The earth becomes shattered and blows up, the energy taking the entire universe with it, leaving only a skeleton behind. As he wakes up, he cannot remember a thing. What was he doing again? Who is he anyway? Suddenly, his memory comes back. He's the administrator of hell, Pale. The portal closes in front of him, letting the world regenerate. Pale, for the longest time, had conquered endless worlds just to raise them. He lost all his sense of identity, along with any reasoning. Suddenly, however, he felt a sense of loneliness from deep inside. He tried creating life, but did not succeed even once. In his last attempt, however, he ripped out his own heart and created a daughter, his alter ego. This set in motion everything that has happened until now. The pain and suffering that Ji-young faced, the needless death at the cost of just one woman, and her bitter loneliness. Pale has been watching Ji-young for some time, and wonders if he's the one who made the fissure, not even knowing of the cycle they are all stuck in. Thank you for watching. See you next time.